And coming to you live tonight, episode 18, March 10th, 2020. So we had some technical difficulties earlier during a different live stream, and just coming to you tonight here on my second of a back-to-back. And so just kind of riffing here just a little bit and just checking out to see if anybody sees me and hears me okay. So it looks like we might be connected. I'm not for sure yet, so I'm kind of waiting for somebody to tell me whether or not we are. So tonight's topic is going to be controversial. We're going to talk about coronavirus and collections. So again, this is episode 18, March 10th, 2020. It is your main man, Kendrick, founder of CreditUturn, coming to you live on the interwebs and the YouTubes, and kind of waiting to see whether or not anybody says that they can see me. And so far, I do not have liftoff, so hoping that somebody can reach out and say, yes, we got you. Great. All right, so somebody can finally see me. I'm not for sure why it took a little bit longer to connect there, so thank you for bearing with me. So again, this is Kendrick, founder of CreditUturn, episode 18, March 10th, 2020, and tonight I'm being all about the controversy, coronavirus and collections, and what those mean to you. And before we jump into that, as always, I like to thank our awesome partners, asking that you are loyal to them, whether they are a bank, a real estate company, a mortgage company, an auto dealer, or any other type of retail dealer, motorcycle dealers, motorhome dealers, mobile homes, whatever it is. So I'm asking that you be loyal to them, because those partners of ours are phenomenal. They see that they have an opportunity to give back to their communities, to their marketplaces, provide an automated solution that's fantastic for you so that you don't have to pay any credit repair fees. They are fantastic people. They're game changers. They make big investments in their communities, and without them, we couldn't bring you this fantastic product. So just want to say thank you, and again, reminding you, be loyal to them. Like them, follow them, share them, rate them, review, that sort of thing. The same thing that you would do for them, I'm also asking that you do with us. Please like and follow and share our social media channels, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We're very easy to find. All you have to do is search for CreditUturn, and you're going to find us right away. If you're watching the live stream, all you need to do is click that subscribe button, and whenever you click that subscribe button, all that's going to happen is you're just going to get a notification whenever we go live, so that you can get relevant content and something that potentially could help you or someone else that you know. And I'm also asking that you engage with us during these live streams. Ask questions, comment. If you have something that's bothering you, whether it's a credit topic or something that's close to credit, or it's something about how you can help somebody else. Other credit monitoring sites is they only provide you with one or two credit reports, often not all. And then there's the manual process of going through and trying to figure out what's negative on your credit report, knowing whether or not you should dispute or should dispute. Remember, we've talked in past episodes about like a bankruptcy. It might not be a good idea for you to dispute the bankruptcy right away, because if you got your bankruptcy deleted and you still have a bunch of negative credit, now you're scored against people without a bankruptcy, and that could cause your score to tank. So just kind of keep that in mind, that if you go the manual route, that you might take a wrong pathway that might not help you. But we did build that in there just because we've had some people that requested that. And I also personally think that once you really see what all is involved with you trying to do this manually, that you'll just go, you know what, we just need to upgrade. We just need to turn around and automate this and get our credit monitoring through CreditUturn, because they're not charging us any credit repair fees. So we do give you two pathways now. So today's topic is, again, controversial. We're going to talk about coronavirus and collections, and what do they have in common. So I'm not a BS artist or anything like that, but I'm trying to dream up like something that correlates to today, and something that you can identify with, and just ways to parallel your thinking so that you get that aha moment. So right now, it was kind of funny. I asked my wife last night, I'm like, we haven't been to the grocery store just to go like shop for paper products, and I see all these people that are hoarding toilet paper. And I'm like, have you been to the toilet paper aisle in the grocery store? And she's like, no, but a couple people I know have, and they showed me pictures, and there's like nothing available. And I'm like, really? I bet you can get that stuff on Amazon. I went on to Amazon, and this was yesterday on March 9th, and I found a couple places that said that they'll be back in stock on March 20th, which is 11 days, and then it's going to be at least a day or two to get the products. But most other resellers of toilet paper on Amazon were like in April. And I think it's amazing that you've got all these people that are hoarding this stuff, and it doesn't do anything to combat coronavirus other than being clean. And we all need to be clean, and you need to have your normal rations of toilet paper. But I guess right now, there are a lot of people worried about being quarantined, and that they're just going to be holed up in their house for the next 30 days. And in reality, that's not going to happen, because over the course of 30 days, you get spring fever. You are going to go outside. There are going to be other people going outside. I don't care if you're walking around your area. The mail still gets delivered. You're going to touch the mail. You're inevitably, you're going to have to go to a bank. You're going to probably need to go to work. So the fact of the matter is, you're getting out of the house at some point in time. So it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And the same thing goes with hoarding hand sanitizers as well. You know, that like, Karen, if you're getting 60 hand sanitizers and there's no hand sanitizers for anybody else, then everybody else's hands are going to be filthy. And if their hands are going to be filthy, unless hopefully they got soap and water, hopefully everybody is being healthy. But you know, it's probably tilting in the opposite direction, where you're probably making it more difficult for people to be clean. And you know, how does that correlate to credit? Okay, so does it do you any good just to hoard cash? I mean, it's nice to have cash, but what if you didn't pay your bills? What if you just had cash sitting around and you weren't paying your bills because like end of the earth is coming or something like that, and we might need that cash, you know, to make our getaway or whatever it is. And then whenever it really doesn't happen and the end of the earth doesn't come, and it was just like another doomsday prophecy that doesn't come true. I'm not saying the earth won't end someday, okay? I believe in that one, but or that we might not be here occasionally. Like, they've got money for their bills, but it's going to wipe them out. They're only going to have $50 left over or $100 left over. Customers have actually told me this throughout time, because remember, I cut my teeth in helping people who have had previous credit problems obtain an auto loan, or helping people with previous credit problems obtain a loan. So I've had a lot of these conversations with people, so I get it. But they oftentimes, instead of paying the bill because they're worried about that feeling of being broke and tapped out, and it's not a good feeling, I'm not telling you it is, but if you're got the ability to pay your bills, make sure you pay your bills, because if you don't, you're going to regret it. It's the same thing with like me trying to get this going. I mean, it would be a real nightmare and a real struggle if you just absolutely didn't. What if I didn't have transportation because I didn't pay my bills? I can't go see auto dealers and get partners signed up, you know, so that we can present this, provide this awesome product to you. So kind of keep that in mind, that make sure that you're paying your bills so that you're not dealing with the after effects of the doomsday prophecies. Pay your bills, because you can replace money. Money comes whenever you're working or you get a check, whether you're dependent on government monies. There's nothing wrong with that, because there are times that you need that assistance. But whatever it is, money always replenishes. Get a feeling of, I can do this, I can pay this, because money will replenish. I put myself forward. I can sell things that I own. I can provide an extra service. I can go get some extra hours. I can do whatever, but you can replenish money. Whenever you don't, and you're just hoarding cash, what happens is your mindset gets to this place in your life where you're not productive, and all you're doing is living in a state of worry. And next thing you know, your bills are suffering, your bills suffer, your credit suffers. And kind of same thing, if you just sit at home and you're scared half to death of, oh no, I can't get the coronavirus, that in reality is probably less of a risk than the flu. Okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. It's probably not the best behavior. And the same thing with playing the lottery. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got a lot of people that will turn around and throw all their cash into scratch-offs, or throwing their cash into that there's just a big Powerball jackpot or a Mega Millions jackpot, and they're just absolutely convinced that they either need to win or that they're going to win. And I believe that most people aren't firm believers that they're going to win, because you just got to have like an unreal amount of faith, especially after how many times you've lost already. But I think that most people think that they need to win to get out of their current situation. So they've got $1,500 worth of bills, and they've got $1,600, and I don't want to be broke, so I'm going to put $100 into scratch-offs, and then you didn't win, or you got a little bit back, and then you put it back in more scratch-offs, just convinced that hopefully that there's a $10,000 prize or a $20,000 prize, or even if it's a $1,000 prize. And next thing you know, now you're faced with having to pay your bills, and now you've only got $1,500, and your bills were $1,500, and then you forgot that you've also got to get groceries or whatever it is. So it's not a good place to be that you're hoarding cash or playing the lottery or hoarding toilet paper or hoarding hand sanitizer. So those things don't help you. Solutions are that you can stay away from sick people. Solutions are that you could put yourself out there and practice great hygiene. And if you hear somebody coughing or sneezing, to stay away from them. If somebody is cleaning up immediately after them, that kind of thing. That's the stuff that you need to do. It's right on the back of the bottle, folks, by the way. You can check out Lysol, and you can check out, I think, Clorox hand wipes and Purell hand sanitizer. And it's been known to repel or destroy the coronavirus. Now, is it a different derivative? Possibly. Are there different derivatives of the flu? Yes. Statistically, it's a really low chance that stuff is going to impact you. So don't just, languish away, and there might be some other things that you need to overcome. Everybody's bounce back is a little bit different. I'm just speaking in general terms that there are parallels between the whole coronavirus freakout and what you can do to overcome not having collections in the first place, or what you can do to overcome the collections. Because let's just talk about what if not the coronavirus, or what if you already have collections. So if you already have the coronavirus, you might not know it, because it might take, I think, 3 to 5 days to incubate. I think the longest case is 27 that they've known about. Some are up to 14 days. Most people just overcome it. It's very much like a cold. And from what I understand, by the way, I'm not a medical doctor. I don't have any fake titles. I'm not an attorney. But I am going to tell you that basically the common knowledge is out there that it usually comes with a fever and usually comes with a dry cough. The thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to wait 6 days, 7 days before you go seek help. You want to seek help soon. And the ones that seek help soon are the ones that are able to overcome it easier, just because you caught it in its earliest stages, as opposed to it just absolutely knocking you out. So that's the worst thing that you could do, is wait. And it's the exact same thing with collections. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait. If you have a challenge, do something about it. Do something about it monetarily. Do something about it about setting up payment arrangements. And we'll talk about that just for a second. So if you set up a payment arrangement with a collection company, you need to know that it can restart what's called a reporting clock. So if you have, and this is great tip, you need to really sponge this, okay? So let's say you've got a 3-year-old collection, and you reach out to them, or they call you and they say, is this Jim Bob? And your name's Jim Bob, and you say yes. You probably need to rethink about how you're interacting with a phone call that you don't know the number. If you don't know the number, I personally, and you have a lot of collections, you might want to let that go to voicemail first and just see if they leave a message. If you do feel like you're the person that needs to answer every phone call, or you're expecting an urgent phone call, if somebody says this Jim Bob, you need to say, who is this calling? Because by law, if they're a collector, during the very first things out of their mouth is supposed to be that this is so and so at such and such collection company. I'm calling regarding a debt. Or this is so and so calling from such and such collection company. If you're not Jim Bob, then hang up the phone or whatever. You have a right to either acknowledge that you're Jim Bob or not, okay? And you gotta love that name. You might be Sally, you might be Sally Joe. So anyway, or you just could be Lee. So anyway, so whenever they call you, you don't have to acknowledge that you are who you are, because when you do, then you legally have met the standards for, and by the way, I'm going to say that loosely, let me back that up again. So again, I'm not an attorney, but I have been told by attorneys and read statutes, and the way I understand it is this, is that if you acknowledge that you are that person, that technically they have the right to say that the last date of activity was not 3 years ago, and now the last date of activity is today. And the reason why that's important is because that collection can only stay on your report for between 7 years or up to 6 months after 7 years from the last reported date of activity. But now if you acknowledge that you are that person and you're speaking to a collection company, now that last date of activity being today means that it's going to stay on your report or could stay on your report for an additional 7 to 7 years plus 6 months, 7.5 years from today's date. Now, I said that it will or could remain on your credit file because you do have some rights underneath of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FCRA, or the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, as well as some other laws, that you have the right to challenge anything that might not be 100% accurate and 100% verifiable and 100% complete. And you also need to remember that everything contained in your credit file is also now, per a federal ruling from a few years back, is also considered an attempt to collect a debt. So, per instance, if they are incompletely or unverifiable in your credit file, and it's been on there for 3 years and you challenge it and it's still there, you have a right to potentially take them to court or file suit or to seek damages from them of monetary compensation for every instance that debt has reported inaccurately or incompletely, or trying to give them an opportunity to either sit or delete it first, because that's going to have more merit whenever you go to court that you just didn't identify something in court. Not to say you couldn't, because everybody has a right to do whatever they want to. But so again, kind of going back to what to do if you already caught the coronavirus or you already have collections, is do not procrastinate. Do something about it. So let's talk about the coronavirus. What are you going to do if you have the coronavirus? You're either going to go to your doctor, or you're going to go to urgent treatment center, or like the little clinic or something near you, or you're going to go to the hospital, and probably to the hospital, because the hospital is going to have access to some testing that your doctor might not have to determine whether or not you have that malady. And if they do, then they can treat you right there on the spot. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, can jump in and they can catalog and say, yes, you've got that. They're going to start wanting to know who you were in contact with, where you might have got it, who you've been in contact with since, so that they can get tested, potentially get quarantined. And you know what all that's going to result in? A lot of time, a lot of aggravation, and most of all, a lot of money. It's going to be very expensive whether you have insurance or you don't. It's going to be very expensive. And you know what that's also going to lead to? That's going to lead to medical bills and potentially to more collections, whether you already had collections or not. But we're talking about the coronavirus, and that's very expensive to get your cure, right? And you hope that they have a cure. And guys, gals, folks, if you already have some collections, I've got your cure. I'm giving you great tips, great advice, great wisdom. You have the ability to engage with us. You have the ability to recommend us and share us and actually send something positive viral out into the world that's not negative, like the coronavirus or the flu or the cold or STDs or whatever it is. You don't want to send that stuff out into the world. Send the good stuff out into the world, especially the stuff that doesn't cost you much. So like you go onto Yelp and you're checking out like a restaurant or something, and if you see like $4 or $5 signs on that Yelp review or on a Google review, what does that tell you? That place is really expensive, right? So I would consider that hospital to be a minimum of $3 signs. That's if you've got great insurance, and possibly $4 or $5 signs, especially if they have to quarantine you and they got to hook up IVs to you and keep you for days. That's going to be like one of the most expensive things that you ever endure, and you don't know what kind of tests they're going to run on you. You're getting bills from places that you've never heard of that's outside of the hospital. But with the CreditUturn mobile app, it's got $1 sign on that review. And what do I mean by that? You're just signing up for credit monitoring. You're not paying any credit repair fees. You got $1 sign on that review, and it's a 5-star review. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal for you, because whenever you upgrade and you subscribe to our credit monitoring in there, you've got all the access and all the power and automation that's helping you automate your journey to better credit, and at the same time, you're getting tips to help you rebuild your credit, whether it's you need credit cards, you need access to auto loan, you need access to a home loan, you need access to business financing, whatever it is. We're always bringing those things to you. So, it's kind of funny. I have to come up with these topics every day for you, and I'm always striving to figure out what I can talk about. And sometimes I'm amazed that I can actually bring something like this together. And I'm telling you right now that this live stream pretty much doesn't get any better than this right now, because this is real. This is tangible. So you're talking about right now, what do these things have in common? Why you shouldn't hoard TP and hand sanitizer, why it's bad for the world, why you shouldn't hoard cash and play the lottery. Those things don't help you. Why you need to stay away from sickness or get out there and be active, because realistically you don't have as much to fear if you're being active and you're just being prepared and you're helping other people. And the same thing with paying your bills and hustling. And, I'm giving you some great tips of what to do if you already got it. Something, but ask them, say, listen, I'll make the first payment, or I'll pay the amount of whatever starting like 10 days from now. Okay, I'll do that at that point in time. But before I do that, I want something in writing from you that says that once I've completed the payment obligation, the payment arrangements, that you agree to permanently delete my collection account from all 3 major credit files, permanently delete in exchange for said payment. Okay? Without that, if you just do a verbal arrangement, it's not going to get deleted. And what will happen is, let's say it was a $1,000 collection and you paid it down to 0. Then what's going to happen is now it just shows 0 and a new date of activity and the word collection. And you can ignore this if you want to, because I'm not crazy. I'm going to tell you that my 30 years that you pay off that $1,000 collection, that word collection is still there, even though you got a 0 balance. It does not help your credit score. In fact, it will lower your credit score, at least for a while, just because it has a new, renewed date of last activity, and it still shows that collection on your credit file, because it is not tied to the balance. It's tied to whether or not you have a collection that's reported and how recent that collection is that's damaging you. So whatever you do, if you feel the need, you win the lottery, you're kind, whatever it is, and you want to do the right thing, okay, because your debt's your debt. I'm not encouraging you to do anything bad. Just make sure that you get a writing that's in agreement with that. Or the other path that a lot of people will take is to ignore all those things. And what will happen is, whenever you do that, at a certain point in time, that debt becomes too old and it's no longer collectible, depending upon the statute of limitations for the type of debt that you have, when the last date of activity was, when the last payment activity was, and depending upon what state you're in. A lot of statutes of limitations vary from 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, from state to state to state. And certain types of debt, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that a student loan debt does not have a statute of limitations limit. It could be 30 years old and it's still collectible. There are things that you could do to get that adjudicated through like a bankruptcy filing or something. But my whole thing is let's avoid all the negative things. Let's avoid the negativity, and let's help you take back control of your credit files. And again, the coronavirus, you don't have that $1 sign option. You don't have anything as $1 sign other than you just staying in a corner, crying, sobbing. You've already got all the toilet paper carrying. You've already got all the hand sanitizer carrying. But I'm here to tell you that if you go out and you check that mailbox, you're potentially exposed to it. If you're ordering things from Amazon, you're potentially exposed to it. Whatever it is, if the wind blows in the right direction, you're potentially exposed to it. So I'm going to tell you that it's very likely, just like the flu, we all get ailments. At some point in time in your life, it just happens. And it doesn't matter about your economic status. It doesn't matter where you live. We're not immune to those things, and the same thing happens with credit. It could be you're a car accident away, it's a health emergency away, it's a divorce away, it's a job loss away, that those things have either happened to you in the past, could happen again, or might happen to you for the first time. And just because you had one of those things happen to you doesn't mean that you're excluded from the others. So again, we're providing you with a real solution that's a $1 sign solution. It's cheap. I mean, credit monitoring that you can access for as little as $29 per month, that gives you phenomenal tools on the inside, and you're getting education and automating, and you're getting tips. So the choice is yours to crawl up into a hole or deal with stuff head on, to either hoard your toilet paper and hoard your cash and play the lottery, or hoard hand sanitizer, or to hit things head on. And my best advice to you is do a little bit of both. Just make sure you're taking care of your bills and not procrastinating, and use our solution. So I want to thank you guys. And again, I want to remind you that we could not do this without our awesome partners, without auto dealerships, without mortgage companies, without real estate agents, without bankers. Be loyal to them. Those companies are a cut, or there's a real tangible problem with credit and the way credit reporting works out there, and they're game changers. They want to help you make a difference. I only ask, and they ask, that you be loyal to them and go back to them and give them an opportunity to continue providing you with solutions. So thank you guys very much. I'll come to you tomorrow with another relevant topic. I don't know if it'll be as controversial as Corona. But again, I really appreciate you utilizing the mobile app. And if you're not using it yet, download it and get started on your journey to better credit today.